Your Great Story podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Strickland. Our stories are made up of three parts: our past, our present, and our future. The past is nothing to be ashamed of because it helps form who we are in the present. And our present helps form our future. And the future is exciting and unknown. Our stories are all made up of adventures that are unique to all of us. Now, if you haven't yet, would you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button? If you're on YouTube, hit that like button. That would just help me out a ton, and it'll keep you up to date on when new episodes come out. This world is full of really cool people doing really cool things. And this podcast is just a place to tell that story. This week, I get to chat with Tammy Lewis. She's the mom of 4 boys and on a pretty neat adventure. She's traveled the world with her family, and in the midst of that, she's come up with some pretty neat tips and tricks for parenting. In our conversation, we talk about her adoption process, parenting, and how to find joy amongst it all. It's a story that you don't want to miss. So sit back, relax, and remember, live your great story.
So, hey guys, welcome to Live Your Great Story podcast. I'm Stacy, and I am here with Tammy Lewis. Hey! We've known each other now for, going on, I think it was 24 years now.
Something like that. I still think of you as the little girl next door, just so you know. When I look at you, I'm like, she's not the little girl next door anymore.
So does your sister.
I know.
But yeah, I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I think it was, Carson wasn't even born yet. I don't think we met. Like,
It's been a long time.
Crazy. So we've seen a lot of life together, and so Tammy, why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, your kids, all that jazz.
Excellent. So my name's Tammy Lewis, and I am a mom of 4 boys. They are 4 teenagers, and I have 2 adopted and 2 biological. And so our story has changed throughout the years. Like when you first knew me, I had the 2 biological boys, and you saw me grow into them. And then about 5 years ago, we adopted 2 more. And so we have 4 teenagers, and it's lots of testosterone around the house. Been married to the same man for now 23 years, and we are Air Force, so we travel and live all sorts of places. So we're currently living in Germany, but we, before this, moved to Guam, and we've lived in the States. And so it's been, I've been a stay-at-home mom the entire time with my boys, and love it, absolutely love it.
That's awesome. I love Germany. It's been, 15 years since I've been to Germany, but I want to go back so badly. So
there's so many opportunities to do here. It's been incredible for our kids to see the world, get a different perspective on it. Instead of just United States, they've gotten to see all sorts of countries.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool adventure there for sure. And so, like, that being said, you said you've adopted 2 of them, and I'm sure that was a journey and an adventure in and of itself.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, just, I have a lot of people who adopt, and just kind of what that journey and that process was for you.
Oh gosh, in a shortened little version here. We decided to do a mission trip in our own home, 7 years ago or something. And we found this organization called New Horizons for Children and brought these 2 boys into our home for 5 weeks one summer. And it was a tough summer, but we really got to know them a little bit, and it put a face to a need. And these 2 boys over the 2-year process that this took to finally our family decide to adopt them, we saw them not get adopted time after they would go on different hosting programs. And our family sat down together and said, okay, we can choose the easy road and continue our little lifestyle of travel and love and, our little core unit, or we can choose a little harder lifestyle and bring in these 2 older boys because they were 9 and 12 at the time. And so that's a total different dynamic, and possibly change their lives for the future. And really we came about it from an eternal perspective of could this change their eternity if they come to know Jesus through us, you know? And we really felt like the Lord said, you know what, I've called you to something bigger, and I've called you not to just breeze through life. And yeah, that was a really tough choice, because we knew it was going to be hard. And throughout the years, people have said, well, didn't you know it was going to be hard? We're like, yeah, but that doesn't make it any easier. You know, like choosing the hard it doesn't make it easy. It still makes it hard. And throughout these last 5 years, we have gone through a lot of healing. We've gone through a lot of internal struggle of who am I? Why am I treating someone angrily when they're traumatized? You know, so it's been a huge journey of growth for everyone. Definitely gone through some ups and downs and some lows and some highs. But yeah, that was the basis of why we chose to, and really, well, I think this was more about our own personalities than it was even about theirs, you know, and giving them a chance to succeed.
Wow. How was that for your two biological, because they're even out of birth order, right?
Right. Yeah. We adopted and we sandwiched our boys.
Okay.
Of course, we're always told not to do that. But, you know, when you see these two boys and you put a face to a need and you go, well, but these are the two boys the Lord brought us, then you just go ahead and do it. But honestly, it has been very difficult, particularly for my oldest, because he was knocked out of that oldest position.
Sure.
And even this last birthday, he was like, he was so angry about it. And so we've had to do, again, some internal work of how do you deal with that? What do you know, who are you? Is your age what makes you, you know? But it's been a really hard one for my two boys, and they have grown closer together. So their relationship, we saw it blossom when we brought in the other boys, because they just clung to each other. They literally, we literally still to this day find them huddled on the couch together. Like, it's, you know, and they're 15 and 17. I'm not kidding.
That's hilarious.
It's great, but they have a really strong bond. And I don't know what it would have been like if they didn't have that, you know, how struggle connects you.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't say what it would have been like. They already had a strong friendship before it, but I think it's grown stronger because of it.
Yeah, it's that whole, like, you grow closer to people when you're in the trenches with them.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how you said, like, didn't you know it was going to be hard? Well, yeah. You know, it's like, just, I tell my athletes and my students all the time, like, just, like, you can do hard things. Like, just because it's hard doesn't mean you shy away from it.
You know, and
I can only imagine, you know, even being in the Army and, like, or Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force.
Sorry. At least I didn't call you guys Marines. Anyways. But anyways, just with moving around, you're just like, God, this is hard. I can imagine, like, relationally with, you know, friends and sisters and, you know, biological and spiritual sisters, and it's got to be tough.
You know?
Yeah.
I know the military life is not easy. I was raised in the military, but we were blessed to never leave San Diego. Like, Dad retired, and then we moved. But anyways,
my boys have been moved time and time again, and it's tough, but it really creates this flexible child. You know, kids who know that they can overcome something. So it's
for sure.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it, like, one of the reasons I wanted you on this was because, like, I have zero experience with parenting or marriage or any of that stuff, right? But, like, and I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't know if I want that. You know, I was just told someone the other day, I have a constant running list of pros and cons of getting married and having kids. And almost on a daily basis, I'm ticking one of the columns, you know? So all that being said, I have a lot of friends that are mamas, you know? And it's just my, you know, season of life. And when you're in your 30s and single, most of your friends are married with children.
Right.
And something that I keep seeing in all of them, and even mamas that I don't necessarily know, is this struggle of, is this all I am? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
God, I do the same thing every day. I have to
Right.
keep these little people alive or whatever that is. And while they love it,
Right.
I see that wrestle, and it breaks my heart because I want to be like you're so much more than just mom. And I know, like with me traveling the world at different times, and I'm like, dude, I love this single thing. I'm going to Disney this weekend. Like, I didn't have to ask anybody. I just booked a ticket and I went to Disney, or I'm going to Disney. I want them to know, like, you can still have adventure. Like, you can still have, like, you have a super great story even in your home. And so I love how you guys were like, we're going to do a mission, like an in-home mission trip,
Yeah.
and so, that being said, you've launched this pretty cool thing called Joyful Mom.
I think it's cool.
Like,
and it kind of lines up with, I don't know, this thing that I've been thinking about, like, moms, find joy in your little days. Like, I'm sure it sucks changing 50 million diapers a day, but like, can you find joy in that? So what was kind of your launching point, or your heart behind launching Joyful Mom? And what is it? Like, just tell me about that.
Yeah. So Joyful Mom is the business itself is called Tammy Lewis, and so you can go to tammylewis.com. Hope you don't mind me saying that, but
I'll put that in the description below.
Perfect. But that's where, because that's my name. But really, the point is to help moms find joy in this journey, and that was the whole point of it. I went through this process of going, how can I help moms? What is it that I have that other moms would like? Because people have constantly said to me, you're so full of joy. Like, it's just been a theme through my life. However, what a lot of people don't know is the struggle that I've also been through. I know you know some of my struggle, and we have gone through some serious ups and downs in my life. But throughout it, the joy of parenting was always like this stabilizing force in my life. No matter what was going on around me, there was this joy that I found in my kids. And I started thinking through, like, what is that about? How did that come about? Why? How can I help other moms have that? Because I see this struggle that moms have of feeling like all I am is a diaper changer.
Yeah.
And to find that passion with your kids of, no, I'm raising the next generation. Like, there's a purpose behind what we're doing. This is not just about changing a diaper, making a dinner. This is about connecting with two little people, or however many little people you have, who are literally people. And I think we forget.
For sure.
I think we forget that this is a person, and I have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
And finding joy in that relationship with them. And so what I did was I put together some things that really got me through my tougher times. Sat back and went, how did I get through some of these things that were so damaging to my mental state? How did I still find that peace and that joy in my home? And so I literally put together a course just from my own experience. And I'm like, you know what?
Wow.
This is what I did. And as I went to different conferences, because, as you learn to grow a business, you go to these different conferences, and they kept saying, the world needs more positive influence. What can you bring to the world? And I thought, that's something I can bring. I can help moms manage that frazzleness that they feel in their homes and give some practical tips. I'm a very practical person. And so I like it concrete. I like you to say, this is what you need to do. Try this. Because that's what people did for me growing up and growing into parenting. And I would just implement things. I'm like, okay, they say this works, I'll implement it. And so I thought, okay, that's something I can share with moms. And so I did. I just put together these courses. I'm like, here's me telling you what I do in my own home. Yeah. And just some practical stuff. So I don't know, did that answer your question?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's...
And so when you're putting this course together, is it like, when you can't get your kid to stop throwing a tantrum,
try this? Or
like, I know just from some of your social media stuff, I know you've put one where, one of your boys really struggled with anger, and like, so without giving away your whole course, obviously.
That's okay.
But like, what are some of those like, what, I guess more specifically, what are some of the larger themes that you maybe see moms like consistently struggle with, and one or two maybe, and like, would you give some of those practical things of like, how do I get through my day when he just won't stop crying?
Yeah, I see moms struggling with a lot of boundaries with their children. And with the best intentions, they struggle with putting together a boundary because kids are strong-willed. And so, like, one of the things I did was I put together this quick video, it's on my YouTube channel, of how to get your kids to stop nagging you. Because I find a lot of moms, I know I used to wear out with, can I please, come on mom, can I please, but you said this, and so now I want to do this, and they just, they will wear you down. And so one of those practical tips is, asked, answered. You asked, I answered. And it puts you back in this mental state of, oh, I answer, a clear answer. And the child hears your determination. And literally when they start asking for a video game over and over, a piece of candy over and over, and you simply look at them calmly and say, you asked and I answered. They recognize it and they go, oh, she's not budging.
Right.
Because they know if they've pushed you once, then they can push you again. And so it's such a basic little concept, but it's something that I find like that's one of my best videos out there, I think, because
awesome.
people really, moms are like, seriously, it's that easy? It's that easy.
That's crazy. I need to use that with my students.
It's great. I still do it with my 15 and 17-year-olds. Like they know if that's my answer, and so those boundaries are really important for moms because I deal a lot with the mental game of motherhood. Like I don't consider myself a parenting expert. I'm not like here to teach you to parent. I'm here to really talk about the mental game.
Yeah.
And that little trick of asked, answered gives you that confidence that, oh, yes, that's all I need to do. Like it's the mental game of being a mom. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's getting in our own heads and knowing that we have these boundaries that we can put on without having to fight.
Yeah. And it almost sounds like, I know parenting isn't this per se, but it's like, I'm in charge, you are not.
Right.
Like that's plain and simple.
With love and respect for my kids,
Yeah.
And I think one of the things I see a lot of parents do is they think that they are harming their kids if their kids are upset. And it's this generation, like it's a generational ideology of I can't upset my child. Well, honestly, I've always been one that kind of goes, no, let's go in hard and fast and get it over with.
Sure.
Because then I can really have fun with my kids. And I love having fun with my kids.
Yeah.
The adventure you talk about,
Right.
I don't want to be worn down parenting. I want to enjoy my children. And so one of the other things I find is that frazzleness that a lot of moms have of constantly feel like they're cleaning or picking up or changing a diaper. There's a constant, I've got to do something next. And room time has been a huge thing that I've taught parents is 20 minutes of kids being in their own room under a really monitored type situation where they just have this quiet time by themselves and mom gets 20 minutes of quiet time. And it allows her to sit. And I really want to encourage moms to sit and breathe so that they can really enjoy those moments with their kids. Because if you're frazzled, you're not enjoying the fun, you know?
And that time that time shouldn't be, hey, I'm going to go do the dishes or do this or this, right? It's like, no, I'm going to sit and read my Bible, spend time with the Lord, listen to a podcast, like that type of stuff, right?
Deal with the mental game of motherhood.
Yeah.
That mental game of giving yourself a breath. We constantly run on this fight or flight mode, moms do a lot. They run on just this energy level that's super high. And it's not actually healthy for us. We need that downtime where our kids actually respect that quiet time in the home as well.
Yeah. I feel like it sets them up for their life of like, oh, this is the boundary. This is how to be healthy and have those times. That's crazy. That's
another one of those things that I teach a lot is just that room time of giving them, and you start from like 5 minutes and then you work it up. And I started when my kids were like 3 months old.
Oh, wow.
Room
Yeah,
time.
that was going to be my question. Here you go.
Yeah. And I would put them in their crib safely, you know, for 5-10 minutes, but that would be my 5 to 10 minutes to just sit. And then we worked our way up to 20 to sometimes 40 minutes because they learn that this is a good thing and mom will be back, you know. And it allowed me to have that quiet space in my home where it didn't feel chaotic.
Yeah, that's cool. How do you, and I'm sure it's different now that your boys are older because they can obviously go do stuff with you, but what do you think are some, I guess it's each kid's different, but like practical ways of creating adventure within your home, you know, because like you said, like I love adventure. I'm like, whether you're going around the world or whether you're going, you know, down the street on a hike, you know, like it's an adventure and get outside, enjoy creation, get off the video games.
Right.
But when like maybe these mamas that have a 2 and a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old, you know, like that those kids aren't necessarily physically able to go out on this big 20, 30, 40 minute hike. What are some ideas you might have for adventure and creating that, like you said, enjoying my kids thing?
I think one of the biggest things is letting go of those expectations of what you think motherhood is supposed to look like, that your house is supposed to be completely clean and that everybody, I don't know, is dressed nicely, you know, like letting go of some of those expectations of that I'm going to make a home cooked meal every single night. Like frozen lasagna is awesome. And if that frozen lasagna means that you get to enjoy your kids more and that you can go out for a little walk outside, then do that. But one of the things I've always found is having my calendar have some white space in it where there is time that I haven't filled every moment up. Because if you fill every moment up, you do feel frazzled and you don't get to enjoy your kids as much. So making sure that you have kind of a flow to what your day is going to be, especially when you have littles, of, okay, we're going to get breakfast and then we're going to go outside for 20 minutes and actually work that into your day as part of your plan, then your day feels better and you do get to enjoy your kids more. And when they're little, that could be your adventure that day, is you went to the park, you know? You sat in your backyard with that little kiddie pool, and that is an amazing sense of adventure. It actually enjoying where you're at. It doesn't have to be a trip around the world. I mean, yeah, my kids are older. Yes, now we go places. But when they were little, it was the pool in the backyard, just that little kiddie pool, and just enjoying that moment. But I think planning it into your day is super key.
That's awesome. That's helpful. And I find
I even have one more thing about that, if you don't mind.
Totally.
I had to really look into myself of what brings joy to me. And for me, it is hiking, getting out in green space, whatever green space that is. But I have to get out to the green regularly, or I can feel, and I just started going, why am I so tense? Oh, I haven't been outside. So whatever that is for the particular mom, it may be, I'm sure a lot of moms, it's different. Not everybody likes to get out into the woods, but whatever that is, putting that into your day, and just your kids come with you, you know, they just do. And that's just part of it. Then they learn that's what feeds mom's soul. Like my kids know, and I'll tell them, you need to take a walk you need to walk mom. It's fine. Mom needs a walk. You've got to go walk her. You know, they don't walk the dog, they walk mom. But they get a happier mom that way, and they've just learned that.
That's funny. That's so true, where it's like, yes, these kids are, I don't know, from my perspective, like I said, they're human, they're their own person, but they're still learning and developing what they like to do. And so like we, as aunt, I guess, moms, I don't think can dictate their fun or adventure based on what their child wants to do, because they don't necessarily know that, you know? No. So it sounds to me, it's like at that stage, you're just exposing your kids to things, you know,
right.
Like, hey, this is what I love to do. This might be what you love to do. Who knows?
Right.
But that's exciting. Yeah, they learn. I love being outside too. It's funny when you just said you need to walk mom. Actually, Sandra actually told me and Bryce that years ago, which side note, I'm not okay with the fact that Bryce is graduating college this year.
Right?
I'm not okay with that at all. But
Crazy.
When we moved him into Liberty, you know, he was like, I'm done with this moving thing and unpacking and all that stuff. And I kind of was getting antsy too. And Sandra looked at me and she goes, you need to go walk him. And he needs to go walk you. Like go to the gym. Because we both love to work out, you know, and we're both very competitive. And
so, yeah, she's like,
well,
go away from us.
One of the things, you know, you find that there's a lot of hyperactive kids nowadays, and moms are just like, oh my gosh, how do I calm this child down? Get them outside.
Yeah.
Like, get them outside, get you outside. Do not bring the little iPad while you're on a stroller walk.
Oh my gosh, I know.
And you know, and no offense to those moms who are like, but it helps calm them down. I'm telling you, they will calm down more if they watch nature over a long period of time. Now, it may not work the first time, because if they've been watching iPads, then they're not used to it. As you get them more and more out into nature, they will start calming down more. It's so good for their souls. So good.
Yeah, for sure. I see that even, you know, in teaching, you know, with the kids are always down on their devices, you know, and I get it. Again, a lot of my friends, there's no offense, you know, I don't, not to be offensive to anybody.
I have to monitor my own use, because I'm like this. I'm like, oh my gosh, put it down, get outside.
Exactly, me too. I've started putting my phone like in the bathroom when I go to bed at night and things like that. But it's just like, sometimes I do get it. It's like, this child will not shut up and I need 10, 20 minutes. So go watch TV, you know? But yeah, there's even like scientific data that I don't know off the top of my head about being outside, you know, and getting that vitamin D and
there's something that happens in the brain that really calms the brain down when you're outside, and just that nature and the fresh air, and it literally changes, you know, some of your brain waves and brain chemistry, and so good for any sort of hyperactive, not even hyperactive, anybody really.
Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't have to be some huge thing, just literally outside.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was, you know, I had hip surgery back in May, and I couldn't walk for 7-8 weeks. Wow. Maybe, well, it was 7 weeks, like pretty much non-weight bearing. And then I had another month and a half of like working my way up to full weight bearing. But for those first like 7 weeks, I could barely get outside, and I was literally going crazy, you know, and just that going to the backyard and sitting outside for like 5 minutes, because that's all my hip could handle, completely changed my day and my mind. And so
it's super good. Super good.
So good for everybody.
Yeah, that's so helpful. A lot of moms, at least here in my town, and I know, you know, in America, I'm not sure what it's like in Germany or I'm assuming it's not this way in Guam, but
Guam's very laid back.
Yes. Oh gosh. But the schedule, like the packed schedule and the multi-sports, which I'm a huge fan of multi-sport athletes, but like from a young age, it feels like, you know, they're just going from this to this to this to this to this. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what are, you know, obviously we want to expose kids to things, but I guess going back to boundaries or whatever, but what are your thoughts on that, of having such packed schedules?
My thoughts on that. Okay. This is just my opinions on it. I find that we push too hard too fast. There will be a time and a place for a packed schedule. And middle school and high school, like, I get it. Those years, they are highly involved and you're driving your kids everywhere. But honestly, those are the greatest times to actually have deep conversations with your kids. So the middle school and high school years, I really get having more of a packed schedule, because you're training your children to get out into the world, and they've got their own interests and stuff. But when they're younger, I think we need to push or calm back a bit and go, what's really valuable to them? Is it valuable to have school, then sport, then homework? Or is it more valuable to have school and then some time with family? And get out into nature and really embrace the family. Now, not to say you're not going to socialize your kids, you know, there's going to be plenty of opportunity for all that, but to have them back to back to back to back and gone every single night, I think it would be healthier for our society if we backed off of that a bit. And doesn't mean you don't do anything, but pick wisely and really go, what do I want my family to look like during this season? Is this a season of busy, or is this a season of family time? And I think when they're younger, that family time is so key. And I think we miss it in the US.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it depends on the family too, you know, and the priorities and all of that. Remind me, did you homeschool your boys? Or
I did, yep.
Okay.
Ever since they were itty bitty. So, and that has been something that's been a blessing for us, because we really did have that time at home of this quiet space of really me involved with their education. And so it was a really beneficial for our relationship. And it's interesting, just as a side note, I guess, not everybody's going to homeschool, and I'm not even for everybody homeschooling. But one thing my oldest was talking about a couple days ago, how he has really figured out who he is, so he doesn't feel pressure from other kids to conform and to be like everybody else. And it's been a really good system for us because of that he has gotten to really know, like, this is who I am and what I am passionate about. And so, and part of that came from not being overly out doing every little thing that we possibly could. We had a lot of that quiet space in our home.
Yeah, that makes sense. I lived with a family for a few years where they homeschooled elementary and middle, and then sent away for high school. Like, because they're like, we want our kids to have the public school experience, and it was that same thing where these are the formative years. They've got a good boundary. They know who they are. Now we're going to send them off. So
I think it's great. I remember
boredom space is fabulous for that. And that's why my opinion is that we should cut back a little bit on so many activities, because that free time to be bored, when you start actually going, okay, well, what do you want to do with this time? It's amazing what they come up with. Like, you really get to know who they are and what they're interested in. So I've got like one who likes science, so we do a ton of building different science projects. Another likes cosplay, so he does costuming, you know. And it's because they had time to really develop those interests.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Well, I mean, this has been super fun, and I feel like there's so many more aspects we could jump into, you know, of parenting and motherhood and things like that. Or I shouldn't say you, because I have zero experience in this. But
that's okay.
I'm sitting here taking my notes. All the notes I have, you think I'll be a great mom, but there's a chance I'm probably not going to be.
You will be a wonderful mom if you choose to. Yeah, if you choose that path.
That's a good thing. It's definitely sometimes a choice. So something that I'm wanting to do as kind of we wrap up is, I actually heard this on a different podcast and I love it. Like, I think it's a great idea. So three final questions, I guess. First one, what are 3 of your simple joys in life?
Okay. Chocolate.
That's awesome.
Hiking and water. Like, get me in the ocean, get me in scuba diving, get me jet skiing, whatever, water.
Yeah, water's so fun. So side note, when I was in Australia, I got to go to the Great Barrier Reef, and I planned on scuba diving. I had been looking forward to it. I cleared it with my rheumatologist because I have lupus and different things like that. But when I got out on the reef, they were like, you can't scuba. And I was like, why? Because I wasn't cleared by a Queensland scuba doctor, and they thought that the lupus and my medicine would affect it. And I was like, no, like, I have proof I was cleared. Anyways, I still snorkeled and like did a bunch of free diving and stuff. And
when I was on the Barrier Reef as well, I only got to snorkel because I was pregnant with my youngest, and so I couldn't scuba dive, but I still got to snorkel it. So I've dove some amazing places.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I need to get certified to scuba, because then I wouldn't have to deal with any of this medical stuff, you know.
Right.
But I did that, and then I love sharks, and I just really wanted to swim with a shark, or at least see a shark out there. And my guide was like, yeah, it's kind of it's rare, you know? And I was like, I mean, Jesus loves me, so stand by, you know? And I mean, I saw one, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. Anyways,
We
that's
drove
cool.
to Palau, and he would ring a bell every time there was a shark. And by the end of the trip, you're like, okay, yeah, I've seen a shark. Like, you've seen so many sharks. It was crazy. And these were like large sharks. It was
Yeah,
very cool. Palau, you
yeah.
would love that because you will see sharks.
I'll have to add that to my wonder list.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, so the second one, and this is putting you on the spot. It's okay if you don't have any. What are don't be scared. What would be three resources outside of your own curriculum? What would be three resources you recommend for mamas in this time who are just trying to stay afloat or trying to create adventure in their home?
Ooh, Kirk Martin.
Okay.
Kirk Martin has Celebrate Calm. I love his stuff. I think he's just fabulous. Is it Kay Arthur, I believe?
Yeah. Uh, Rick's wife.
No, that's not something else.
No.
Oh, see, I should have asked me this one beforehand because I don't remember.
So sorry. I should have.
Okay, she's with the group that sings. It's a Christian group. She writes amazing books, and it's called Stay the Path.
I don't know. I can Google it, and I'll put the links in below.
Because I know her book is called Stay the Path,
Okay.
and it's a fabulous book on walking out your calling and who you are as a person. And so it's not like a parenting book. It's just who you are. And since moms, need that, they need to know who they are. So that would be another one. And I can't remember the name of that group. It's a Hillsong. She's the wife.
Okay.
And so maybe it's not Kay Arthur, but it's Kay something. I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so that would be one. I love that book. And then a third, let's see. I would honestly say just get involved in your local church and make sure that you have a mom support group, something really local that you pull in 1 to 2 to 20 moms. It doesn't matter who, but start something. If you are feeling lonely and you're feeling overwhelmed, put something together in your local community where you can really touch base with one person one-on-one. Does that make sense?
Good. Yeah, totally. I mean, because I've heard that said, and we say it all the time at church, like it takes a village, right, to raise your kids. And
I'm lucky enough.
We've lost that sense of community. We just survive on our own. And even if it's just one other friend, like find somebody to latch onto that you go, okay, she's my gal. I walk with her. Yeah. It could be 20 gals. It's, it depends on your personality. Yeah. But that's what I would say. Those would be my top three.
Cool. I'll put some links in the description below. Yeah, it is really cool, even from like this side of it, being part of people's community. It's like, I'm not a mom, but I'm an aunt, and I go to my friends' kids' baseball games
every single chance I can.
It's a huge important part. People need that. You're so important in their lives.
Yeah.
So it's fun. So again, yesterday was my birthday, and so this kid, he's 6, made me birthday card, and I was like, I'll keep this till you're 23. I've got something of your nephew's that he made me when he was 2 still.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Anyways, but it was like a baseball thing, and I went to breakfast with his mom, and she was like, he was so upset that he couldn't come and give you his card. He was like, but I want to give this to her. And she's like, you can hold on to it until you see her again. He's like, well, am I going to see her tomorrow?
Probably not.
Well, fine, you can just give it to her. But like, it's neat to feel like, okay, I don't have my own kids, but I'm able to impact the lives of kids, and I usually just interject myself.
And community is so important because you make a difference in their life, and a lot of times they'll listen to you more than they'll listen to the moms and dads. It's just a fact of life, and that's okay. That's as long as you surround your kids with good people.
Right.
Like, that's a good thing.
Right. And that's something I try to do a lot of is like, okay, mom, friend, what are your house rules? What are, and usually if I'm aligning myself and being friends with them, we have the same kind of foundational belief systems, you know, but it's that, okay, like you trust me with your kid, I'm gonna support whatever you're trying to instill. Anyways, it's pretty cool. So final question, and who has been your biggest influence, or who has been the biggest influence on your journey with Jesus?
Ooh, well, that would definitely be my mom and dad. Yeah, because they brought me up to know who the Lord is, and they brought me up to follow Him and love Him and make Him the top priority. So they would definitely be my number one influence, for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. It's rare to hear that these days, I think, which is unfortunate, but yeah. Well, awesome. Thanks so much for taking time out of your afternoon. I know you're a few hours ahead of me, but it's fun, and I think this is helpful. You know, hopefully it's helpful to moms. And like I said, I'll, you know, put the link to Joyful Moms and your website and all that stuff down below, and hopefully you know, moms can get encouraged deeper through what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing and for what you're putting out to help moms. It's pretty cool.
You're so welcome.
So awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's been such an interesting journey. So I love what I'm doing.
It sure has. Cool.